Hey guys, welcome to another awesome episode of the G&J Podcast. I'm Michael Mayers, and with me as always is Chad Juice.
What's up?
And with us for the second time now is Mikkel. How you doing today, man?
Real good. Thank you for having me again. I'm excited.
Thanks for joining us again. It was a great time last time, and let's replicate that magic this time. We're going to start off with UFC 239 for you guys. For those of you that don't remember, that was John Jones versus versus Santos, Thiago Santos. That was an amazing 5-round decision. I thought that we got a little bit of a display of some of the most heart we've ever seen in the UFC from Thiago Santos, given what happened to both of his knees in the fight and prior to it, with surgery heading into it on his right knee. And what we saw was a very pensive John Jones afterwards, kind of looking down and being like, at first wasn't holding his head high, proud of his performance. But Joe Rogan was like, no, that was a great performance, and he kind of bought into it. So John Jones kind of knew that he didn't have that killer instinct, I think, that we saw before. I have my reasons as to why I think that confidence might not be there to just go recklessly in and go for those moves. And I also have my speculation as to why Thiago was a great matchup for him and will be again when they fight again. But I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What was your thoughts on this fight?
I thought it was just he was cautious for most part. I think there was a lot at stake for him because he was talking before the fight how he's got like plans to fight maybe 3 times next year and all that stuff, and just he's like looking forward basically at like running through the whole division again. And I mean, there's a lot of stakes, like I said. So if he did lose to Thiago, which was very possible because he's a very hard puncher, then I don't know. He loses a lot of that unbeatable aura that he has.
Right.
What do you think?
Just to, I guess, pull off of that, I think he doesn't want to fight the rest of the division. He's the champ. He's where he's at. If there's a good rematch, maybe he'll take it. Or if there's someone new and up and coming that's really gonna take it from him, I think he'll fight that person. But
So what do you think he wants to do if he doesn't want to fight his division?
I mean, just
You think he wants
to try and go
challenge for
through it
heavyweight?
again. It just seems like a toll. Then why would he put himself through?
I don't think he's challenging heavyweight anytime soon.
That's another point that I want to touch on. But first, I'll touch on Mikkel's point. He said that he wants to, take on all the young guys coming up, and because he says he feels like he defeated all the legends, defeated the guys that were coming up at their prime at the same time of his on the rise at the same time as his rise was going up. And then now now that he's at the top, he wants to fend off the guys who were like him, the young lions, as what he thinks is a veteran in the game, right?
Sure.
Yet Thiago Santos again has 4 years on him. What I will say though about this fight is, I think Thiago Santos might have become one of my favorite fighters, like ever, because this guy's story is like something you'd see in a movie. He comes from the favela city of God.
Right.
If you've seen the movie, you know how hardcore that favela is.
Right.
He he grew up in capoeira. He got a
Yes.
black belt in that. He has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he has a black belt in Muay Thai. And the reason I throw up a fingers on the air quotes on black belt is because in traditional Muay Thai, Joe Rogan posited this on
There's
his
no
podcast.
belts.
There is no belt.
Yeah.
Right,
But,
you're continually striving for greatness. So it's
yeah,
the
of
road is
course.
never. But he's been a practitioner of
I mean,
Muay Thai
saying
at the
that is like
highest
saying
level.
there's black belts in boxing, right?
Right,
Like,
exactly, right. So that's a great analogy. So yeah, Thiago Santos fought through. Get this: in his left knee, he had a torn ACL, PCL, MCL, and meniscus, all torn. And then the only thing intact in his left knee was his LCL. His right knee, which he had surgery on prior to the fight, right?
Yeah.
He came in and because of the left knee being compromised, the right leg was the lead leg, and John Jones notoriously likes to attack the lead leg.
Yeah.
Teeps, kicks, all these different types of movements to try to ruin the movement and hamper the movement of his opponents. Naturally, it's a smart tactic. Now, when it started off, what was your guys' first impression of how this fight started off at the beginning? Because I was blown away. I loved what I saw from Thiago Santos as a competitor. Like, he was exploding. He was technically sound. John Jones said after the fight, he wasn't, he was way more technical than I thought he would
Right.
be. I knew he was explosive and athletic and unpredictable, but he's very technical in his explosion. And when he did explode, he was throwing bombs. So what were you guys'
So
impressions?
I think that first of all, the style that Thiago has is a great style to counteract Jones, just because.
100%.
So two things he did that I saw that were really significant. One was the leg kicks that he utilized so beautifully to the lead leg, and not a lot of Jones's opponents are able to do that. So I think that gave him a huge advantage. I think he definitely limited Jones's movement with the kicks,
Right.
which is great for him. And the
His
second
leg
thing
looked
that he
like it
was
had a
doing,
softball in it.
oh yeah. And the second thing he did was he didn't throw one punches or 1-2 punches. He actually threw several punches moving forward. And you know
Knocked the
Jones's
mouthpiece
reaction.
out of Jones.
Yes, he did.
One of
in the
those,
first
one
round,
of those,
second round,
one of those
first round.
shots. Not saying he rocked him, but he's connecting.
Correct. So Jones' usual defense to that is just he sticks his arm out, right? And he keeps the distance, makes a few steps, and
Right.
people disengage.
Right.
So, but in this case, Thiago wouldn't disengage once
Right.
Jones sticks his hand out. So he would keep going, and it seemed like Jones didn't really have an answer for that. He would just
Right.
like keep running backwards like this.
Right.
And
Because the distance is being closed in such a
Very-
quick succession.
yes.
Muay Thai helps you with up close elbows, so he's able to get out of the way of those. Capoeira helps you with spinning techniques, which helps you get out of the way of
Right.
those. You combine both of those to face a guy like John Jones. See, the thing about John Jones' dominance is John Jones doesn't get hit. It's like Floyd Mayweather. It's not that, oh, I'm going to get hit in the jaw and I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat you because I'm a zombie. Tony Ferguson, like these guys that just take damage. It's like, oh, is that all you got? Like, he doesn't get into those kind of fights. He doesn't get hit. How many times have you seen him battered and bruised? It was the first Gustafsson fight. Name another time where you saw him battered and bruised. Because GSP got to a point where he's battered and bruised, but he won.
Yeah.
There's different ways to win, obviously, in this game, which makes it, to me, the most interesting thing, because it's a literal imposition of will. Like, it's a person versus another person. There's no medium through which I dominate. It's just my body and my mind against your body and your mind. And John Jones' mind is very sharp, but guess what? Thiago Santos' mind is extremely sharp too, being a Brazilian paratrooper formerly. This guy's not scared of the moment. He's fighting on a completely destroyed left leg, and he's like a soldier mentality because he's a soldier.
right.
That's the most impressive part. Like over anything, like as much as John Jones didn't have the best fight, is like what's he gonna do from that fight? I was like so impressed with. He got injured early and went to a split decision. Showing that if he had his healthy legs, man, it would have been a lot different.
For sure, 100%. Because what I think is not that necessarily that he would have won, but the fight would have went in a different direction completely, and someone's getting finished.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I just want to put out is that don't forget, after this knee injury, he's, like you said earlier, we spoke about this. He's not coming back before like next year, mid next year or something. What do you think? Somewhere
I
around
think
there?
the middle of next year. I'd say something like July next year.
Right. He wouldn't come back before like 12 months or
Plus-
something. Like actually fight. I don't think
not
so.
fight. I think like he could definitely do like
Start training and
plus 8
rehabbing
months.
and all that.
+6, +8 months. You could like really. That's when you can begin like physical movement.
Yeah.
activity,
But
like,
until
fighting
like an actual
a
fight,
year,
yeah,
maybe
at least a
12
year, I
months.
think. So in that, if he stays out for that long, first of all, let's see what happens with Jones during that time. So you never know if the timing is going to be right for them to face each other again.
Correct.
Second of all, you don't know how Thiago's going to come back after 1 year.
This is very devastating, guys. I mean, if you think about what happened to his knee and what he fought through for 3.5 rounds was what Sean Livingston basically suffered when he was playing basketball. When his, not saying it was that sudden and that explicit to the point where he had to grab his knee and couldn't move, but when you have when your knee pops out, because like this is what happens is he didn't get up on the ball of his feet to rotate as he threw a roundhouse at the head.
Yeah.
So what happens is your foot is planted and all that torque doesn't get spun through your ball of your foot.
Right,
It gets spun through your knee. And
how
you're
it
putting
happens.
so much torque. Look at how hard he kicks. It
Yeah.
sounded like a 2x4 getting swung at John Jones' thin legs. We haven't seen John Jones get chopped like that.
No,
we haven't seen a
nobody's
guy,
really done
we
it.
haven't seen a guy come in and close the distance and get some punches. This was the fight
the
where
chopping was
because
impressive.
Jones comes back every fight in the rematch and he's ready.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be so difficult because only one first impression to last a lifetime.
Exactly. That's the other point I was going to make. Absolutely. So this might have been a very like small opportunity or window of opportunity for Thiago where he actually could have done it. And I mean, if his knee didn't get busted. So who knows if they ever gonna get a rematch, depending on timing. If Thiago's gonna be the same
He's 4
Thiago.
years the elder of
Also,
John
Jones has already seen him in the octagon.
Seen him once. He's 34 now. He's gonna be 35 when he comes back.
Yeah.
What's he gonna be like?
Remember,
when he's 35?
I brought this point earlier when OSP fought Jones.
Yeah.
He had a broken arm, guys. Don't forget that. So he also pretty much fought like 4 or 3 rounds with a broken arm and stayed in it. And it wasn't an amazing performance or a super dominant performance by Jones. Yeah, he won, but against the guy with a broken arm. And fucking OSP was coming with a hype into that fight. Very much like Thiago, hard puncher, awkward, whatever, different. And then after that fight, what happened with OSP?
Seriously.
So who's to say that that's not something that can happen to Thiago? I'm not wishing him that. I'm not saying it is going to happen. I'm not saying OSP and Thiago are identical or whatever, but I'm just saying there's so many factors that are in play.
Well, I hope all the best for Thiago moving forward.
Me
honestly.
too. I want
if there's a great rematch on the
Absolutely.
horizon, I'm all in for it. If I see these two on the bill, I'm
Me
buying.
too. Of course.